Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might happen to be. Welcome to the IAG Live Streaming Show. And it's Friday for you, but it's Thursday night for me because I'm coming at you from sunny Las Vegas. Yes, it is 7:01 p.m. here in Las Vegas, and we're all getting ready for G2E, of course. Very exciting. And yes, the whole gang from IAG and G2E and CDC Gaming, of course, we're all getting together. We're doing our first ever CDC Gaming event since the merger between IAG and CDC on Sunday evening, the 5th of October. That's very exciting. That's the day zero party. So called because it's day zero of G2E, with day one the very next day, of course. So Ben and Jason will be joining me over here in Las Vegas shortly. Corey from CDC has just literally arrived in the last hour or so. And yeah, we're all very excited and ready to go. So let's go through some of the stories of the week, have a chat with you about those. And then after that, I can go out and have some dinner, which will be good, even though it's breakfast time for you guys. So let's take a look at this first one. Yes, the PSP, of course, in Macau, there are two police forces, the PJ and the PSP. The PSP is the one that handles immigration and border crossings, and they were anticipating 1.2 million visitor arrivals during the Golden Week holiday. I guess that's for the 8 days of Golden Week. So 1.2 million divided by 8 is an average of 150,000 per day, a very, very healthy number. So, yeah, that's Macau busy, very busy, and very busy for mass, and that's just a continuation of that that phenomenon going on. I suppose pumped up a little bit by the typhoon. We'll have things to say about the typhoon shortly, but the typhoon affecting September numbers, and perhaps a few people putting off their visit in September to the first week of October because of the typhoon. Let's see. Let's scroll down a bit, Oscar. I don't think there's anything too much in there. These stories are always talking, well, there you go, averaging 150,000. These stories always give the breakup, but well, there we go. During 2024 National Day Golden Week, Macau welcomed 993,000 visitors, so call that a million. So we think it's going to be up 20%. All right, let's move on to the next story, Oscar, because we'll have more to say about that shortly. And there you go. I see Scott Messenger has sent a message. Hello, Andrew. Yes, we have the messaging facility working now, so that if you are watching this live, if you're watching this now, whether it be on LinkedIn or YouTube, I think YouTube's probably the simplest to use, or Facebook, you can drop a message to me and I can reply. So if any comments on any of these stories, please feel free to drop a message in and I'll reply to your message. So hello, Scott, who will be holding the fort there in Macau while we're all at G2E, which is great. Okay, let's zoom in, Oscar, to the to this one. South Korea's new 50. Oh, yes. So, yeah, South Korea, interesting. So locals can't bet and can't play in casinos in South Korea, as you all know, apart from Kangwon Land, of course. So we consider it to be a a foreigners-only market. And in fact, if you had read the cover story of G2E in October, has just come out. I've just noticed that the footer, yes, there you go, Oscar, you've noticed it as well. Very good. The October issue of G2E, the October issue of IAG has just come out, and the cover story is about foreigner-only casinos, particularly Korea and Vietnam are our two big sort of foreigner-only markets, although there's some changes are coming for Vietnam. Which we'll probably talk about shortly, or we have been talking about. So interesting to see some thoughts. And we had a session on this at the IAG Expo that we had both Chen C and Alan Teo from Hoyana speaking out. Quite interesting. So yeah, and this is obviously going to help this new 15-day visa-free policy. I believe it began October 1. Oscar, maybe just scroll down there a little bit. This story was on September 30, and it said that it had been officially launched. I think it was, and it goes until is it March or June 2026. I think it goes until. Is it in this story here? There it is. We'll run until June 2026 in the second paragraph there. So. Let's see how this goes. So that's a decent chunk of time. That is, 3 quarters. So we'll get 9 months of data to see what happens. But visitors to Jeju will have 30 days visa-free, and visitors to the rest of Korea, 15 days. This is Chinese visitors. So that'll make a big difference. All right, next one, Oscar. Yeah, this I thought was an interesting one to just mention about. PAGCOR has really been trying to help out the NBI, which is the Philippines equivalent of the FBI, in the fight against illegal gambling. I think, it's pretty clear that after the banning of the POGOs, we've had the rise of the so-called PGO industry, or e-games, or online gaming, or iGaming, or remote gaming, or whatever you want to call it. Online gaming within the Philippines industry has sort of blown up and become a huge revenue raiser for the government, and a huge, $2 billion industry in the first 6 months of this year. And then at the State of the Nation address, the president did not say anything about it. So it looks like the Philippines government, despite some pressure being put on them, want this to stay. But you can see that Al Tengo there he is, chairman of PAGCOR, good friend of IAG's, is putting a lot of effort into trying to stamp out the negative, the social consequences of online gaming, and this is just an example of it. They've funded the NBI to the tune of 25 million pesos there. For those of you that don't know, 25 million pesos is 2.5 million, 250 grand. Double that is 500,000, but then take it down because exchange rate, probably 400 grand, 420 grand US, something like that. And this, of course, will not be the only funding that they do. So just an example of how they're trying to help out. So they really are trying to stamp out illegal online gaming in the Philippines. All right, next one, Oscar. Yeah, this was the world's worst kept secret. Everybody knew for a long time. We knew for a long time, but chose not to publicise it until Okada had announced it. Please note that, Okada. Byron moving from his role as property president of Okada Manila, which he has been since the start, I think, or very close to the start, 7 or 8 years, I guess, probably 2018, I guess. I would be my guess that he started, probably in the story if we scroll down. He will be moving to EVP strategy for Sands China. Honestly, probably a role that probably suits him better in some ways, and he will be closer to Hong Kong, which you'll like. Yes, there you go. He made COO in 2018 and made property president in 2020. Thanks for that, Oscar. So yes, Byron on the move, and taking Wendy Nee with him as well, taking Wendy from Okada Manila over to Sands. So I'll see a little bit more of Byron, I guess, being as he will be in Macau. All right, very good. So that's when, and of course, it's already been announced that the Sato-san, Nobuki Sato, will be taking over, or has taken over, to lead Universal's interests in a card of Manila. All right, let's move on, Oscar, to the next one. Yes, no surprise here. A low GGR, relatively low compared to recent months for September because of the super typhoon that came through. The casinos were closed. All the casinos in Macau were closed for 33 hours. And of course, you've got the lead up and the post, and it takes time to ramp it down and ramp it up outside of those 33 hours. So that really affected the numbers. I mean, 33 hours is obviously a day and 9 hours, so nearly a day and a half. But you'd probably count 2.5 days, I guess. Yeah, probably count 2.5 days, which is let's say 10% of a month. So probably would be 10% of a peak month. And September's not generally known as a huge month because you've got October Golden Week. So people save it for then. So you don't normally get too much in September. It's a little bit of a quieter month. July and August can be quite a kind of big because of summer and holidays. September's usually a little quieter, and then October's a really big month. So just scroll down, Oscar. What do we got in here? So the August peak month there was 22 billion. So what's it off? It's 18 instead of 22, so around 20% sequential decline. I wonder what it was compared to last year's September. Let's see if I can find that in I'm sure. Do we have September? No, we don't. But the first 9 months, GGR up 7.1%. to 22 billion, 22.6. So first, if you were to add a third, just to do it as a run rate, a third of 22.6 is about 8 billion, a little bit under 7.5 maybe. So wow, pretty much bang on 30 billion. Yeah, and the end of the October is going to be a big month. So we're going to hit 30 billion, that's for sure, in 2025, 30 billion US. That's fantastic. Okay, all right, next, Oscar. Yeah, I thought this was an interesting one. Even Naga Corp is growing. There's growth everywhere in Asia at the moment. We're really coming back. It's long post-COVID now, and things are settled. There's still some COVID hangover. There's still debt to be repaid. There's still readjustment for a post-COVID world, for a world under the new concessionaires in Macau, for a world in the Philippines where there is far fewer people coming from China and somewhat fewer people coming from Korea. So there's still adjustment going on. We're still going through an adjusting phase in Asia, but it's settling down to be a stronger mass, not really a junket-driven world. And I thought this was interesting. Even Cambodia doing quite well. Naga Corp sees strong growth through the first 9 months of 2025. Scroll down, Oscar. What are the numbers there? So Naga's saying generated gross GGR of 532 million US. Of course, they work in US dollars in Cambodia for 9 months, up 30% year on year, which you would expect. So if we were to add a third to 532, what are we looking at? 500 would be what's that? 170, 180, something like that is a third. So 700, something like that. 710, 700 million for Naga. Not bad for Cambodia. Let's just have a look. Largely on the back of mass gaming tables, yeah, increase in mass and premium mass. A lot of that is Chinese people living in Cambodia, doing works in Cambodia. There's a very close relationship between China and Cambodia, and there's a lot of construction work and developmental work going on in Cambodia, a lot of which is being done by Chinese companies, and therefore there are leaders of those companies in Phnom Penh, and there are Chinese ethnicity and Thai ethnicity people in Cambodia. Let's not get started on the Thai-Cambodia thing, because there are military tensions there at the moment. But yeah, it's largely Chinese driven, I would say. All right, let's move on. Next one, Oscar. Analysts expect Macau gaming revenues to grow by 13% year on year in October as bullish outlook remains. Yes, this makes perfect sense. So we're in the middle of a bumper Golden Week at the moment. It's October 2. It's late on October 1 here in Las Vegas. It's now early on October 2 in Macau. They were expecting, well, there was talk of a $1 billion GGR in Golden Week in the 8 days. So an average of 125 million US per day for those 8 days. Let's scroll down, Oscar. There'll be some numbers here. So industry analysts, so DOCJ revealed the September number, which we just talked about. JP Morgan said the decline was yes. The September print took to, let's go in October. So for the first 5 days of October, we expect daily GGR to exceed 1.1 billion, so 137 million. Potentially matching the pre-Golden Week of 145 million US. That's only for the first 5 days. Then you've got the three days at the end. 50, the second week. Yeah. So overall, they expect in the first 2 weeks, GGR. Scroll down a little bit, Oscar. Yeah, the highest in 6 years. So 930 minutes, average 116 per day. So 116 per day times 14. Well, that would be 1.1 billion for 10, and then for another half a billion. So that's 1.46 billion, 1 2/3. So 1.67 billion. So second half of October, of course, won't be as much. If you were to double 1.67 billion, of course, you get, was it 1 2/3? So 2 4/3, so 3 1/3, so 3.3. It won't be that much. But that is pretty impressive number. And what is Seaport expecting? 13%. Yeah. So that kind of makes sense. So expect a big October. I think that makes sense, and I would agree with those numbers. And it's from what I hear, it was a busy day yesterday in Macau. Okay, all right. Let's go on to the next one, Oscar. Yeah, this is very sad. There was an earthquake in Cebu. For those of you watching that aren't so familiar with the Philippines, Cebu is the second biggest city in the Philippines. It's in Visayas. The Philippines is split up into three areas: Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And NUSTAR is the only integrated resort at this stage in Cebu, and I do believe something like 100 people have passed away, which is very sad, and probably some more to come. I would suggest just scroll down a bit, Oscar. And the casino at NUSTAR at Cebu did actually close. It's saying it's resumed hotel dining and casino operations. Wonder how long they were closed for. I should know that. Well, there you go. Killed at least 69 people, according to early reports. I'm sure that number's going to go up. So, look, our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Cebu. You know, the Philippines, it's a relatively poor country, and it gets hit with a lot of natural disasters. It's always the ones that it's hardest for that it happens to. So our thoughts are with the people of Cebu and the people of the Philippines generally, and hopefully they can recover from this as quickly as possible. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the next one. Yes, one of my favorite properties, maybe even my favorite property right now. Ras Al Khaimah, Wynn Al Marjan Island, which whenever it comes up, I'm quick to tell people that I have visited it. late May, early June. I was lucky enough to get a tour of the property under construction. Can't say too much about that because I was kind of sworn to secrecy. But I can say that it was absolutely beautiful, of course, as you would expect from a Wynn property. And this is interesting. They're going to build a Wynn Boulevard connecting Al Marjan Island with the highways. Well, look, that makes absolute perfect sense. So to share a little bit of my experience, so I flew into Dubai and got a car straight to Ras Al Khaimah. And it's a beautiful, scroll down, I saw that picture there before, Oscar, of the highways. It's a beautiful sort of 4, 5, 6 lanes each way, perfect highway. Scroll down a bit more, Oscar, so we can see the whole picture. Yeah, I mean, that, I'm not sure if that's a rendering. Is that a rendering or an actual picture? Could be an actual picture. I can't quite read that. That caption's too small for me on my screen. But there's this beautiful highway that basically screams all the way up from Dubai. There's actually 3. There's an inland, there's a central, and there's an outer, all sort of going up the coast. There's a coastal route, sort of a central route, and a more inland route. And there are 3 highways screaming up roughly north-south. Going straight up to Ras Al Khaimah is the Emirates at the top. There are 7 Emirates in the UAE, 4 down the sort of the western side: Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah, Dubai, and then Abu Dhabi. At the bottom, the capital being Abu Dhabi, and those highways essentially run through all 4 of them. And I drove at speed. You fly along that highway at, oh God knows, 130, 140 kilometers an hour. But at speed, I think it only took me from the Dubai airport to Al Marjan Island, 45 minutes. Well, to the turn off. See, this is the problem. You go up to and then there's a turn off, and then you've got to get to the island. So if they're going to build a beautiful Wynn Boulevard, if they're going to call it Wynn Boulevard, it's going to be a nice road, and that'll get people in there even quicker. So it wasn't a bad road to get to the island, but it was not as fast as the highway. And I think speed is going to be an issue. Time is money, and people will want to get up there quickly. It's certainly close enough, especially with these highways that go up there. And it's just desert around you at the highway. So that's a really good move by Wynn. That's really clever. The E311 connects Dubai and the other UAE Emirates. I can read that now. Okay, next one, Oscar. Or that might be it, I think, for today. Is it? Oh, there's a few more. Okay, we've got oh yes, Resorts World Sentosa opening the Laurus, a luxury collection resort. Now this is interesting. I didn't even know about this, to be honest. Scroll down. RWS are not the best at their comms, to be honest. We try to engage with them as much as we can, but I really wish they would put on a strong marketing person and engage with us more. So as you all know, both RWS and Marina Bay Sands have got these big capital expenditures that they've committed to the Singapore government to spend. This is part of the so-called RWS 2.0, the $5.1 billion spend. So, I mean, they need some good luxury hotels there. So this is great. This was the Hard Rock. Okay, so they must be gutting it and going again. Now, this is interesting, 7,650 square meters. Just scroll down, Oscar, because I do believe down there we've got the number of, maybe down the very bottom, the number of suites. It's an all-suite offering. There we go, 183. So I think I'll actually do this one on the calculator rather than trying to guess it like I did all the others. Was it 7,650, was it, Oscar? Just scroll back up again to the top. I think it was 7,650 square meters. Just check. Yes, it is. 7,650 divided by 183. That's an average of 42 square meters. That is not that big for a suite. I know the suites at the Venetian are about 60 square meters. So it's only 2/3 the size of that on average. Now, of course, they might have some small ones. Well, they definitely will have some smaller ones, and they'll have some larger ones. But as an average, that's kind of small. But small doesn't always mean bad, and it looks very luxurious in the pictures. Scroll down, Oscar. So I'd be very keen to stay in one of those at some point. Scroll down the bottom, Oscar. I see a date down there of 2030. That's the completion of RWS 2.0. Yeah, and I think a similar timeline for MBS. I think it's a little bit longer, actually. It might even be 2031 or 2032 from memory, to complete everything, including the fourth tower. All right, let's move on to the next one. Look, yes, Jeju Dream Tower is by far the biggest, what's the only real IR, let's be honest, in Jeju. And I think it accounts for, I'm really guessing here, but I'm pretty sure it's over 50% of the total GGR of Jeju. And I think there's about 9 casinos on Jeju, something like that. In fact, I'm planning to go to Jeju next year. I want to go there and have a bit of a look and report from there. Scroll down, Oscar. So they're actually doing well for a change. It's really good to hear. What are the numbers here? So they report, these casinos in Korea tend to report their drop, which is a complete waste of time. We need to know their GGR, which they call sales. Here we go. Casino sales was Korean won 2.9 billion, which is 37 million. Now, how long's that for? That'll be a month, I think. Yes, that'll be a month. So if they're doing 37.6 million, that's a good month for them. So, yeah, what are 300, 400 million a year, something like that. I mean, if 37.6 is a really good month for them, maybe an average month is 32 times 12, 384, call it 400 million. Not bad for Jeju, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty remote. They do have the visa-free thing with China, but now everywhere in Korea has the visa-free thing in China, as we just reported. So, as we just discussed, rather. So, look, that's not a bad number for them. It's not a huge number compared to some of the big IRs in Macau or even the Philippines, but that's not a bad number. All right, let's move on, Oscar. So maybe Dream Tower doing better. Yes, some 140,000 visitors. Well, we were saying an average of 150,000. Day one is normally not the busiest day because people tend to spend that with their families. I think day 2, 3, 4 probably the busiest days. So 140,000 is a good result. A lot of people. 140,000. Let's do a little bit of divided by 24 hours in a day, divided by 60 minutes in an hour. 97 a minute. So 1.5 people a second for 24 hours straight. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? All right, scroll down a bit, Oscar. I mean, this will just have the breakdown of where they came from. Of course, it's all going to be China. Let's have a look here. What do we got? Macau saw a total of previous figures was 117,000 from mainland China, 117,000 over the 139. So that's exactly what you'd expect. 16,000 from Hong Kong. Border gate primary, entry point for visitors. I think there's a 1 missing there in front of that. Oh, no, there's not. Oh, no, 63,000. That's correct. Yep, 63,000. Hengqin gets quite a bit now, 28,000. Gee, Hengqin's up to a third of the Gongbei border gate. That's it's really, people are starting to come in through Hengqin. That's pretty impressive. And then of course the bridge as well, 20,000 across the bridge. Now the total number from Hong Kong was only 16,000. So some of those coming across the bridge from mainland China. Well, I guess some could be from other countries, but that wouldn't be enough to get the difference of 6,000. So some of them are from mainland China doing the triangle, doing China, going to Hong Kong, and then maybe a day trip across the bridge to Macau, and then going back. That's quite common these days. Yeah, interesting. All right, next one, Oscar. I think we must be getting towards the end. There we go. That is the end. All right. Well, that was a dozen of sort of more interesting stories in the last week. Really huge week for us here in Las Vegas coming up. As I said before, Ben and Jason both arriving tomorrow. Corey is already, Corey from CDC, publisher of CDC, is already here and just arrived. We're about to go out to dinner. And of course, we've got our big day zero party on Sunday night from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. If you are in Las Vegas and you want an invitation to that, let us know. We might be able to. It's pretty much full, but we might be able to sneak one or two more in. Just let us know if you haven't got an invitation and you'd like one. So it's going to be a big week. Next Friday, I'll still be in Las Vegas, and I'll be able to tell you all about what happened during G2E. So for those of you that are here in the US, have a great G2E. For those of you who are in Macau, have a great weekend and a busy Golden Week, and we'll see you next Friday. Bye for now. See ya.